And I also think that a lot of times when we go after challenges in our life, that the challenge that you think it's going to be, like we were like, I'm going to pursue this. The challenge that I can see for myself would probably be this. And it ends up being something way harder
completely different.
and
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Kit.
And I'm Cade.
And we're real people.
Doing real reviews.
We are continuing on with season 3, Stories That Stick. And our theme that we are going through right now is Rags to Riches. This week is Cade's pick. What did you pick?
Pursuit of Happyness.
Spelt with a Y?
Y, yes.
Why is it spelled with a Y?
Well, because the whole time in the movie, his child is going to daycare, and they misspell it at the daycare, and
Drives him nuts.
It drives him nuts, like basically the whole movie.
Yeah.
So then it's Pursuit of Happyness, which is also funny because when I was writing it out, I spelt it correctly, and then it was something that I noticed Googling it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, like what's happening with this
What's
Y
happening
here?
here? Yeah. So I think that for me was a good kind of point, because then I noticed those kind of nuances with his son, ensuring that he knew how to spell things. He knew, he was constantly like flashcarding, not using flashcards, but asking him questions, working on his math constantly through the whole movie. So that's Pursuit of Happyness. I chose it because to me, I think this is a really cool story.
True story.
True story again, of somebody that, really tried really hard and made it.
Yeah.
As well as I think for me, I think this is probably one of, do I dare say, Will Smith's probably best movies.
It is.
I mean,
really...
no one call me out, but like it is a good movie he acts in. So
yeah. It's again, it's not an easy film to act in, and he is alone a lot in the movie, and so that's where you really notice people's incredible acting ability, because it's so much of really good scoring and his facial expressions going through ranges of emotion in trials and tribulations, and you really feel connected to this character, which is important because it is an American biopic on the real life Chris Gardner and his journey from, a kind of failed business into wanting to take on a unpaid internship into, can he, create the life that he dreams of and feels like he deserves while he faces unimaginable challenges. So tell us a little bit, I guess, like your thoughts as you kind of watch the movie.
Well, I guess from that first fun fact, Chris Gardner's an Aquarius like me.
Oh.
So
what did you feel like you guys had in common?
Probably that kind of
you're both tall.
Both tall. Yes.
We
are both American, both lived in San Francisco.
Look at that.
Doing the things.
Yeah.
No, I would say probably just his kind of like direction of like just kind of keep going. He's going to do what he says he's going to do. And there's no other choice.
Yes. And he also, what I think what makes him endearing, and I know that you have this quality too, is that you just say the uncomfortable thing. Like when you're, hey, sorry, I'm late. I don't have a suit jacket on because of this. You just say it instead of trying to cover up or make up a story. And which is a great character thing, but I do notice that with Aquarius is that they're just gonna say the thing. I am late because I hit a car or I got a ticket.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what happened. Okay.
Yeah. So, well, obviously in the beginning of the movie, he has a wife. They have this child. They're both working kind of crazy hours.
Yeah.
He's sunk their life savings into this medical device that helps kind of scan your bone density.
It's like an X-ray, but portable and more expensive, and it's like a luxury.
A luxury kind of device. So he's like basically a door-to-door salesman for doctors, which, I mean, obviously could stand to make a lot of money, but they found out shortly after it's just a nice to have device.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's putting pressure on his relationship. She's picking up shifts. And they're kind of fighting back and forth in the beginning of that. Things get a bit worse. She decides to leave.
Yeah.
And he's very adamant that Chris Jr. is going to stay with him. And she's like, kind of fighting with that. But then it's like, okay. She heads to New York, which is also interesting because that's a very American thing to do between the two coasts. I feel like people do move that extreme. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Moving from San Francisco to New York for a better job. So she leaves. Things obviously get worse. In the midst of that time, he's decided that he has kind of a moment on a street where this guy comes out and he's in like this really nice suit and he has the really nice sports car. And Chris asks him, what do you want to do? I want to do that too. And he says that he's a broker. And so then Chris looks into it. He finds this program, this unpaid internship that he has to apply for. And he decides to do it, which then leads to that kind of interview that you're discussing, because he's having to, he's basically evicted from his place because he's late on rent.
Yeah.
However, he's able to stay longer if he paints the place himself. So he is painting the place, and then the police come because his car had too many parking tickets. So they arrested him. He couldn't leave until the next morning because the check had to clear. And so then he just basically runs across town in his paint-covered clothes to this interview and basically says, I don't normally look like this, but here's what happened. And everyone's like, what?
Like very stuffy boardroom. And he's like,
Yeah.
I was sitting there trying to make up an excuse that would make you think it was funny or that I was cool, and I just can't. Like, this is what happened. And then I love, because there's a line where he's like, what would you tell me if I gave a person that, came in here with no shirt on to an interview? And he's like, oh, they must have had really good pants. And they were like, this guy, like, we love this guy.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it because taking an unpaid internship, already difficult. Taking an internship where only one person gets it out of a group of 20 or 30, also really difficult. But because he is solo parenting to accommodate like drop off and pick up and all these things, I know that gets worse too, but he can't work as many hours. So he's trying to like shortcut these areas that he can make things happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like creative solutions. So, basically through this internship, they learn how to be a broker, and they're trying to basically get people to move their retirements over to this new brokerage. So they're just basically cold calling people.
Yeah.
And like the connections there. And he realized, early on, if he didn't put down the phone, that saved him, 2 minutes that he could like then use on top of that, because he has to leave like 2 hours earlier than everybody else. And then finally he like cuts out kind of the bottom people, and he just starts at the top of the list.
Yeah. Calling CEOs.
Yeah. And that's kind of how it snowballed, because he called this one, went over to him, misses him in kind of that time period, but he doesn't give up, and he actually goes to the CEO's house to have that kind of conversation, and then apologizes at the same point. He's like, sorry, I missed you. I know you were taking time. And then they end up going to the game with his family, and then he gains more contacts, and then it kind of snowballs from there. That then it's kind of more relationship building on bringing people over.
Yeah, I thought it was such a great take on, first of all, just having like gumption, to make things happen. He obviously believed in that he could win people over, and he had been in those scenarios, winning over doctors to like this luxury product, which is very cool. But a lot of where his clients came from were just that he was seen with the CEO. And because of that, like, appearance or yeah, kind of like section of like how somebody's perceived. Other clients kind of came forward and that opened up other companies and things like that because they saw him next to this guy and optics, you know,
Yeah.
the optics of it kind of opened things up, which I thought this was such a key point to like put into the like film to be like, you know, he created his own luck because he was willing to like go take a bus to this neighborhood, go walk up to the CEO's house just to apologize that he had missed him. You know, the guy's like, "Where are you guys going?" He's like, you know, we were thinking about the football game, which of course he did not have money for a football game ticket,
Right.
but he's like, we were doing that because he knew the game was on. He knew that this guy liked the game. He knew that this guy had, you know, tickets to it. That opens up, why don't you come sit in the box with us and those types of things. And then he realizes, because when he's sitting with the CEO, he's like, I'd really want to talk to you about switching your thing over. And he's like, I didn't know you were new there, Chris. Like, I don't confidently feel good about like taking my company in that direction with somebody who's new, but enjoy the game. Like, it's great to meet you. Like, you know, let's see what we can do. Like, kind of like, this is a no, but I like you. Like,
Yeah.
and so let's see what happens. And they continue like kind of their relationship and friendship from there. But, in that moment, you could tell that he's disappointed, but he's like, okay, let me actually be in this moment
Yeah.
because I wasn't, you know?
Which also is kind of like night and day different because he is creating this kind of environment while he's at work in this high stress situation and kind of at this elevated level.
Mm-hmm.
His home life, you know, he's evicted from his place. He goes and lives in this motel for a bit.
Yeah.
Week to week. They kick him out. Then he's like homeless, staying in a shelter.
Yeah.
There's the night where he basically has to sleep in a bathroom on the subway.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's like a crazy kind of heartfelt moment because like the camera's right in his face. and
he is.
it's just acting like that out, which is
Oh, he's so disappointed.
Yeah.
Because he had sold a bunch of his little machines. He's like, okay, I think I have enough to like make rent and it'll be okay. But because he owed on taxes, the way that the law is there, they could go in and take out the money. And he's calling and he's like, you don't understand, that's all I have. And I'm in this unpaid internship. And they were like, this is the way it is. And the internship's not crazy long. So it's not something where he's like, I got to give it up and like go get a job. It's like, if I get through this and I get it. Like, and so he also has a child in the evenings. Like there's not you know what I mean? Like there isn't a scenario where he can really, outside of doing sales, which is what he was doing when he had his evenings and weekends and things like that. There wasn't really a way for him to earn money outside of it. And you have to think it's pre-internet. Like there's no like, I'll just go on and make an Instagram ad. Like you can't, like there wasn't, you'd have to basically take like a job doing like a restaurant or something, which is impossible to child. And so he is problem solving in every way possible. But that scene where he's like, they go to the motel, the child is so exhausted. You know, he's been with his dad. He's like, was at daycare all day. And he's with his dad trying to sell this machine. It didn't sell because a piece broke. And then they go back to the motel and they just want to go to bed. And all their stuff is in bags outside. And the kid's like, I'm like, I just want to go to bed. Like, just open the door. Like, I don't. And then they have to just like ride the subway. And then eventually they create like a make-believe land where they hide in a cave and they're at the subway bathroom. And he's so scared and disappointed and frustrated with like where his life is because he excelled at school and he thought he was going to do something great with his life with his little business. And here he is in this moment. I think that's a moment where maybe not all entrepreneurs, but a lot of entrepreneurs or people who are they're at a plateau in their life and they're trying to elevate their dream and kind of really capture like the American dream, especially with this film. I want this life and I deserve this life and my kid deserves this life. And even though my wife has left me and everything's a mess, like I still have to believe in myself and pretend like everything's okay. And because he's homeless, he's like literally showing up to the office and he has like his like 4 shirts and like a bag. And he has like a few things because at a shelter, you have to like just show up in line each day. So you can't leave anything there. And so he's going to an office and he doesn't have an office. He has a cubicle to make phone calls. And they're like, well, you got your shirts with you, Chris. And he's like, oh, I got a work trip. He has to like pretend that he belongs there and that he's not facing these crazy, wild things. What's even more interesting is that the child that they use is Will Smith's actual son, Jaden. I think it was his debut. It was beautiful, beautifully acted, really great father-son moments. But in actuality, I believe his child was under 2. So it was like a baby. which
Oh, in the real story.
in the real story.
Yeah,
And
real story. I
which is,
couldn't even imagine.
you have a baby in the subway, like,
Yeah.
trying to make it wild. Yeah, I just think that moment is when you think of the Pursuit of Happiness, you think of like your lowest low. I think that bathroom scene is the one.
For sure. I think also too, another scene that stood out for me was when they're playing basketball and his son says that he wants to be a basketball player. And then Chris, Will Smith, in this kind of scene starts laying in that, no, you can't be a basketball player.
Only X amount of people.
You can't do it. And then he just sees how defeated his son is. And then he's like, realizes that so many people have done that to him in so many different ways. And he kind of gives him a pep talk. And it's like, if it's something you want to do, go after it and don't listen to anyone, including me, on what you can do. Which I also think is a cool kind of scene that he then realizes in that moment.
Yeah, the influence like kind of trickled
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of towards the end, because he's chasing after that last kind of machine that gets stolen, he gets hit by a car and then has to go back to the office.
Oh, yeah, and he's missing a shoe.
Yeah. I'm like, I wonder if that really happened to the real Chris.
Where he was like...
Or they just like wrote that in because
they were like, imagine? How can we make it worse for him?
Yeah.
And you also notice like a few little notes of that his boss really kind of leans on him to like discount him. They're like, get me a coffee, park my car, do this, like do that for me. Like you're gonna be the guy who does things for me, and you see it more with him than anybody else. And I'm like, that's interesting. I wonder if that happened too, where he was singled out and he already was like feeling like I only have so many minutes to like make things happen.
Yeah, like all the odds were against him, and yet he still performed. Like even like the head boss asked for money for a cab, and it was like all he had in his wallet, and he still gave it to him.
Yeah, it was like,
and then it like came back in tenfolds, which was cool.
It is very cool.
So obviously, then like because of all this time, he's the final exam. He takes it. Another guy ends at the same point. And they're chit-chatting in the elevator, and he's like, what'd you think about that last question on the back? And the other guy's like, there was a question on the back. And then he goes back, but yeah, he ends up getting the interview, and it's kind of full circle because they talk about, wearing a suit or the shirt kind of thing, kind of the joke at the end. And, you see that relief on his face that he actually did it. And everything's going to be okay. Yeah,
he does. He gets the job, and he makes a tremendous success for that company. And he goes on to become his own venture capitalist and invest in other people, which, he obviously believed in business and, from the beginning. But it is like the happiest you've ever felt for somebody, I think, when you hear he gets out of it and he goes out into the street. Like where he had first originally seen that person drive up and park in that sports car, and he's just like clapping for himself. Oh,
yeah.
It's so beautiful. He's just like he did it, and he's by himself, and he's in this crowd of people who discounted him, walked by him, watched him get hit by cars, watched him fail, and he's like, and like clapping for himself. Oh, I love the way that they shoot that scene because you're like, you earned every ounce of like the success that's coming to you, way more than any of these people who maybe had, degrees in finance or this or that or this. Like, how cool that like a good person who was doing his very best to be the best dad he could be, trying to do what was right the whole time, and he, wins. I think it's such an interesting underdog story that's not about athletics, that's not about I guess like a gender formality. It's about like he wins. Yeah.
I would say kind of very, very similar to your movie. It's like two people are breaking into an industry that's new to them.
Yeah.
And how hard that they work, and they actually, made it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool story from that kind of perspective.
Yeah, I feel like there's something to having like an internal chip on your shoulder, because it wasn't a chip that he was like giving to anybody else. Same thing with my movie. she wasn't giving it to other people. She was like, I have this chip because I know that even though this is new to me, I can do well here. And same thing with him. Like, he's like, okay, I don't know, but you don't need an education to be a broker. So what is it? People skills and hard work. I can do that. And he was gifted in math, and they kind of like point to that as he's talking about his childhood and things like that, that he was something special before. He thought that meant something, and then, goes through this really dark challenge and wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you rate the movie?
This is a really high rating for me. A big part of why this rating is high is because of the acting. I just think that it is, and we're going to talk about another movie in one of our other episodes of another person who acts really well. That's a solo, like a lot of solo acting, a lot of their face. And so it's a 9 for me because the story is, it is a rags to riches. I'm not saying it's like a tale as old as time, but it's like it's a person's pursuing the American dream, and it's hard. And it's a dad, it's a single dad, like it's hard, and you're like, okay.
Every time I hear that tagline, I think of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Tale as old as time.
I know. It is. And that's where it's from.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, I think that it's something that you're like, what's, this is how we make a movie. Like, how is that special? But it's because of Will Smith. But it is so special because you feel every moment that he is talking about, like, how he's going through the struggle and what he's facing. And I feel like it creates this relatability to the character and what he's going through and experiencing, even if you've never experienced anything like that, or even had a goal that was like that massively outside of reach that you're trying to obtain.
Yeah.
And I also think that a lot of times when we go after challenges in our life, that the challenge that you think it's going to be, like, we were like, I'm going to pursue this. The challenge that I can see for myself would probably be this. And it ends up being something way harder and totally different. Yeah. And I think that that's such a great way to depict it is in this movie, where he's like, it'll probably be hard because I'm new. It'll probably be hard because it's unpaid. No, it's all of these other aspects that make it unbelievably more difficult. And you're trying to maintain your character as like a good person. That is so special in this movie. And so even though it is like, it was done as luck and now it's okay, that's not what you take away from this movie. And it's what makes it special. Yeah.
Nice.
What did you rate it?
I also rated it a 9. Yeah. So good. Definitely, I could watch this all the time, and definitely it's a movie that I think is a good one that like motivates you, or if you're ever kind of self-doubting yourself, I think it's a good movie to watch.
Yeah.
I think it also depicts, everything can stack up against you and you can still do it. As well as, for me, I think you have to be like calm under pressure, which I relate to so much. Like in all of those scenes, and even in the city, you see all the bustling and the hustling and like all the people making the phone calls and like and he has to be calm, like setting all of this aside at home. He still has a job to do, and he has to like continue to push forward.
Yeah.
I think is a huge thing as far as like the character in the story. And then on top of that, just Will Smith in this role, like depicting that. And I think, you did say it earlier as far as, he is great acting in this, but it's also solo acting, which you can't play off anybody else. You can't hide. That camera is just on you.
It's just you. Searching and thinking about why this is happening, and you're like, wow, I agree.
Absolutely.
Great choice.
Like even like the funny scenes where he's like joking and it's funny, to like the more serious scenes, to like coming back in the office like without a shoe on, and you gotta like play the what just happened and how you play that off to other characters. Like, so believable, the whole movie.
I agree. Yeah. I love it. And I love that it's about a real person. Very cool.
Yeah.
If you are watching on a broadcast channel, just continue right along, because the next episode will be up. And otherwise, you can listen anywhere where you find your podcast normally. That'll be Apple and Spotify. Thanks so much.
Bye, guys.